Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Now, hopefully, we're going to be able to get this report from Brian in just a little bit, so everyone be patient, but I got to jump right to it, because literally I could do a 20-minute segment on how things have been for me since you last saw me, right? I was supposed to be jumping on an airplane, going to Arkansas, bucket list trip, super excited, and then from that to absolute disappointment, 100% just sewered that I wasn't able to go to Arkansas. Now, think about the timing. It was, Denver, Colorado, right? Issues there, plane issues, delays, planes, trains, and automobiles, people. And then throw on top of that unbelievably bad weather here, which made it extremely good duck hunting. Which direction do you think I'm leaning? Especially when they're talking about planes with stuff falling off of them. I'm out. I'm going to go duck hunting here because it was really, really good, right? So, yeah, it was, all kidding aside, extremely disappointed that I was unable to make that trip. But better safe than sorry, and we end up with photos like this. Now, we're just going to kind of go through these a little bit. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. This is actually the Monday after the last show here a week or so ago, before any of the ice and snow showed up. Just a solo quick trip, a couple-hour hunt. Things were really getting interesting because it was starting to get cold. We've talked about how these birds know that things are changing, and it's one of the reasons why we love to do what we do, is the interaction and then the experience over time. That last photo, by the way, was one of the best looking pinnings of the year. I had to get that photo. But my buddy Sean and I have been able to take advantage of some really good hunts all throughout the last week and a half or so, trying to be somewhat responsible and not put myself in a situation of destroying my truck and my boat and everything else. But we'll get to that. If you take a look at this photo, this is actually from last Saturday when I would typically be standing here in the KPTV studio. But I, of course, was taking advantage of my day out, and we had a full-blown blizzard. That's ice, everyone. Yeah, I know. I got a salt and pepper beard going on here, but that's ice. I literally was just, I had it busted off as I'm going down the river. It was brutal, but the duck hunting was well worth it. I'm not going to argue that. It was a fantastic day out there. This was on that particular day. And yeah, sometimes I like to get the artsy-fartsy photos. And by the way, if you ever do come across that little, I don't know, thermos that Edge has out there as one of their swag items, when it was 17 degrees, my coffee was still hot. But anyway, you can go buy that one. Sometimes I do that. And one of the things I wanted to point out here, for all of us that utilize dogs when we are hunting ducks, a couple of things. Number one, this was on that Saturday when it was in the teens, and how tough these dogs are, their willingness to do what they do. Take care of your dogs. On that particular day, I only let Drago retrieve maybe 5 or 6 times with 2 limits. Sean and I were just walking out and getting our ducks the other times because it would take them a while to get warmed back up. You just have to always pay attention. The next hunt we actually went out on a couple days later, I didn't even take Drago just because I didn't want to put him in a situation where he was going to be cold when he didn't need to be, right? Although I can tell you I missed him. That was that particular day here. And I mean, it's really just been that way. It's just been, mallards, pennies, not as good as we would have expected, and haven't seen as many travelers as we would have expected. But those are, that's a timing thing. You got to be in the right place, right time to see them. Still picking up a few gadwalls here and there, which is a bit interesting for this time of year. If you've done this long enough, obviously they're always going to be around, but in numbers where we were passing them up is a bit interesting. This is yesterday. I'm hoping that I can get back. We could barely get there, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But to get to some of these spots has just been absolutely relentless, unbelievably treacherous. Wednesday, I didn't even go because it was just so bad. And you can see a quick video here. This was really for the folks that were giving me a hard time for not being able to make it into the studio last weekend because the Chevy truck wouldn't make it. Oh. And some people were getting really petty too. I was laughing. I don't even pay any attention, especially right now. I don't pay any attention to this stuff, right? I got other things going on than to look at social media. Honestly, that's the last thing on my mind. But I had to take that video. That's exactly what it's been like. I bet you I've put nearly 1,000 miles on that truck in the last 8 days or so. All of it with a boat on the back, my duck boat on the back, and covering ground from east to west and everywhere. Luckily, not getting locked in on the east side, barely. Barely. I'm super barely. I did not want to get stuck over there. But no, that truck will go anywhere. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the features that I recently learned on my Chevy Silverado that I absolutely love, I didn't even know I had the thing, and that's probably my fault, right? I've had a lot of 1 tons and 3/4 ton trucks in my lifetime, and none of them, not one, has had an auto 4-wheel drive setting. It's always 2 high, 4 high, or 4 low. If you're a truck owner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, this 1 ton's got an auto setting. I literally have had it in auto for the last 7 days, 8 days. Every situation that I was in, freezing rain, ice on the road, snow, packed snow and ice. You all know how it's been around here. It's been insanely bad. Auto. And with tires that are actually 28,000 miles on Toyo tires. You think they've got full tread? No. Just the way that that system works, you can actually feel it in the steering wheel, of course, like in 4-wheel drive. But when that auto kicks in and out on a 1 ton, you appreciate it the entire time. Now, I got a chance to use 4 low a lot because the boat launches have been treacherous. Ice and snow has been horrible. Almost had to have Mr. Fish pull me out, which he drives a Ford. I don't know if I'd be able to stomach it, but I didn't have to. 4 low got me. That's just a cheap shot for all the Ford owners. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. No emails, please. Maybe. But no, it's been a really, really good week, and I'm glad that my good buddy Jimmy out there somewhere basically talked me out of it on Wednesday, because Wednesday was a no-go. And for me to say that takes a lot. Anyway, let's go ahead and check in with Katie Suniga, find out what we've got going on for this weather going forward. And I had a chance to talk with Katie before the show started, and she's like, oh, you missed it, you were gone. And I had to tell her, no, I was here, I got to experience the whole thing. It's been crazy, but it looks like things are changing.
Oh, and you know, we've talked about this. We like the fun weather, but not when people's lives are in danger.
Absolutely.
And that's what happened with this last week. So it wasn't fun, and I'm happy to say we are warming up. It's a slow warm up, especially for those on the east side. But I want to get out of this. I don't like this type of extreme weather where people's homes and lives and everything are in danger. I'm not a fan of that. I am a fan of when things get back to safe conditions. That's where we are headed. This is the Vancouver, I should say that to pronounce it correctly, Vancouver, Mary Hill Winery Tasting Room, Bistro Camera, mid-30s. We have not warmed up too much. Here's what happened. Yes, we are still in El Nino. Yes, we still have this persistent ridge. It was just shifted enough to allow those low pressure systems to come in. One came right at us. That was the Saturday one that just barreled right across, gave us that east wind. We talked about the air rushing in to fill that low pressure center. And then another one that came in with the east wind and the ice. Now we have this persistent high pressure that you can see it's staying with us, and it's keeping these upper level lows away from us. I'm not saying we're going to be dry and warm and in spring, summer weather, just saying we're not seeing any major snowstorms, ice storms, windstorms in the extended forecast at this point. Of course, we're going to keep an eye on it. We are seeing rain and plenty of it. This is today right around noon. Showers coming through. Persistent showers, you can see breaks and showers and breaks and showers. There's a surface level low. That helps us get the south wind, so that helps warm us up. And you'll notice this is Monday morning. Once we get through Monday, midweek, we have temperatures to get back in the low to mid-50s. So that's a good thing. Here's where we are with potential for rain. Not too much, just a little here, a little there. We're looking at maybe an inch in the next 3 days. No freezing rain. That is the best part about all of this, as we're looking at warmer temperatures and overnight temperatures. Look at that, back into 30s, mid-30s, Saturday into Sunday, and then the 40s going into the week. So it's good because we're not freezing, but it's also good because we get to continue to see some showers, which we all know here at Outdoor GPS. We like the rain.
Get rid of this ice. I'm telling you.
And this will help. This will very much help.
Very good. Thank you very much, Katie. We appreciate it. As always, everyone, we want to make sure that you're involved, or at the very least informed, of all the conditions that are out there, and they're changing for the better. We're going to have water for a little bit, which is great. I know we haven't gotten to river levels yet, but we still have to make sure that everyone is aware that you need to send an email to Jason over at Procure and enter in to have that chance to win a prize pack from Procure. You're going to want it. This is how you can help yourself be a little bit more successful chasing winter steelhead. But before we go out of this segment, we have to go through the river levels real quickly, Ryan. So let's just get that up when we can. It is going to change quickly, but not necessarily for the better. I've already mentioned we've got water that's coming into the area, and you can't see that there. At the very least, these rivers are all about to pop, right? We've got all this snow and ice that's still on the ground. We've got a warm up like Katie just referred to. All the local rivers, like this particular one here, my home river, is about to pop. You can see that it's dropping down, and I had mentioned already that there's going to be a small window. And if we can just go right through the rivers. There's going to be a small window right there that you can see before things start to bounce back up, except for that north coast. Anywhere along the coast, it's at least forecasted to be somewhat stable. I bet you anything, things are going to get really busy along the coast. Inland, it looks like things are going to explode a little bit more, especially in the valley. But yeah, you got a lot of water to work with. You're going to have to make sure that you pay attention to that so you don't get yourself either in a drift boat or whatever else might be into some sort of trouble. But those are conditions that, as long as the clarity will work with you, fish in tight, and that's where the fish should be. Cross your fingers. I'm looking forward to it in about a week and a half. I got a lot to do between then and now. All right, we're going to cut to a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to have Dominic Aiello here from Kershaw. We're going to talk about some of their newest products as well. Let's talk a little bit of duck hunt and give you some insight on that as well. But don't go anywhere. We got some great info for you, as well as the Deal of the Week for Fisherman's Marine coming up in just a little bit.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.